All right, what is a soft start and why do you need one of them? I have Dave, my good friend, with me today. He is going to help us go over soft starts. Now, this is a soft start through SoftStart Home. They make soft starts for RVs, homes, all kinds of different things. What we're looking for on a soft start is a way to have the amp draw go down when anything starts up. So this is a 5-ton compressor and this is a 2.5 ton. This one's going to pull quite a bit, but when this one goes, even on a house that's on grid on a normal system, you're probably going to see your lights flicker. This is going to allow this to come up at a much lower amp draw, and then you're not going to see the lights flicker. It's going to extend the life of this because it's not getting hit so hard when it pulls up. Also, if you've ever noticed when your AC fires up, it's going to be a pretty loud noise when it gets going. That's going to actually slow that down quite a bit. We're going to do some testing today. I'm going to have Dave hook up an amp meter. We're going to show you what this pulls before we do this, what it does afterwards, and then we're also going to listen and see how much difference we have in the sound on this. Now, we're doing this because of our solar system. We did testing, and with one inverter hooked up, I can't run this with one inverter. And I'm going to be curious to see what this is. I know it's going to be over 60 because it was throwing our breakers in there. But as soon as I took 2 inverters online, I'm able to start the big one on here. And if I go to 3, you actually see a little bit less of a kind of a blink inside. So I'm really looking forward to getting the soft start in here and basically stopping the lights from dimming down at all, which is going to help everything else in the house as well as it's going through, because we don't want power surges on anything else. This is also super important if you want to run your air conditioners or your heat pumps and you're in some sort of power outage or you want to run off a generator. A normal generator would absolutely run this once it gets going, but if you don't have a massive home generator like a Generac system, those smaller ones are not going to start this. As soon as you put one of these soft starts on, you can get a much smaller generator and still keep all of your critical stuff going on there. So stick with us. Dave is going to be the one in charge today. I love this. Normally I'm the one that's doing all the projects. I get to be his assistant. Now, you don't have to have a guru to do this. This is not a real complicated system to put in. I know there's several wires on here. It's not that bad. They have a wiring diagram online you can get for almost any type. We have trains, so I found the ones on there. But you can pretty much find your AC on there, and it'll tell you how to hook these up.
Either 4 or 5 screws. This one only has 2 because train slide down. Sometimes they'll be here, and sometimes you have to loosen these up on the corner. Little pop like that. Slides down out of the way.
Looks like you've done that once or twice, Dave.
Just once or twice, yeah.
You're pretty good at it.
And your nomenclature for your units on the Carrier and Goodman and most of your Lennox, it's on this door. On trains and I'm going to say Ream maybe, they're on the corner panel from the door. You just walk around your unit, you'll find them. So
for those of you guys who didn't notice, Dave put the screws back in there. That's a huge tip. We use either the little magnetic trays to put screws in, or just better yet, put them in there, because we've got this rock everywhere. I can promise you that's going to be lost if he doesn't do something like that. So
every time, I promise you, every time. So right here we have our low voltage wiring coming in from your thermostat or in from your air handler or furnace. This is your high voltage coming in from your safety disconnect. This is your defrost control board. This is your capacitor that gives the extra amps or oomph to the compressor and the fan. This is your contactor. As you can see, the contactor is pulled in. That's because these 24 volt wires from the air handler and the thermostat are telling it it's calling for cooling, but we've got the main voltage off, so it won't turn on. Ready?
all right, so 85.3 is what it went up to. So that would be why we killed our one inverter with 60 amps.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's listen to the sound on this. All right, test number 2, we went up to 98.2. And then Dave, would you go ahead and put that on just regular, and we'll see where we're running at. So we seem to be between 16.8 and 17.3 on our amp draw.
Of course, you want to confirm that your power is off, even though the safety disconnect is pulled. Sometimes they break, and there's no amps or no volts.
Now with the capacitors, was there anything anybody would need to worry about in here with any stored charges?
Yes, so when you go to, because you're going to have to mess with the capacitor, you're going to have to do, and we did this earlier. So with the power pulled off, the main power pulled off, you want to take an insulated screwdriver. You want to go between the terminals to discharge it to take the charge out. 90% of the time, it dissipates very quickly. Every now and again, you get one that holds a charge, and
that's why he
you
had his
can
hand up there in front of his head.
damage equipment. Yeah. This will mount in here, so we'll have to move some wires, which is not a big deal. With your wire nuts, water does like to collect, you know, morning dew, so you want to bend those in such a fashion where they stay pointed up and nothing gets in there. And then these wires, we're going to have to slide those over, because this is going to have to slide in here. You need to be below your contactor, and then we'll screw that to it and then start explaining the diagram. These go to your compressor, along with this orange one. And then these ones on top and the back comes over to your capacitor. We're going to leave that one. And then these others right here, they come down to your control board, which also sends power to your fan.
So guys, this is why we brought Dave in. I could have hooked this up, but I would have had no way to describe everything that he just did and all these great little tips. So it's going to be a huge help, Dave, for us to really understand how everything works when we go to install these ourselves.
So if we look on the back of this, we notice we have a covering right there. If we can try to peel that. So sticky, stick them right there. So make sure you got it where you want it at before you press on it.
Good plan.
You do want it all the way in. So you can use, this is a 1/4 inch zip screw. You can use a 5/16 self tapper. I do have my setting down low, so I do not torque through the... Now, with these power tools, anything that spins does like to grab wires and rip things out, so please be careful. Get set, trying to keep your wires away from everything. Just give a little bit of pressure, it doesn't take a lot. So now, according to the chart, we're not going to have to mess with the low voltage at all, so it's all high voltage. Otherwise, we would go ahead and turn off the thermostat, and then because you can hear it humming. And I'm going to go with red first. Red comes off of the box to T2, where that red is at. They do have it going backwards, so I may just go ahead and do it like it says to, which is I recommend. So I'm going to replace the black right here. We're going to move this to this brown wire, but we're going to put this red wire on there in place of that. The eyelet one, it's going to go right there. So okay, so we're going to keep this out. If you want, you can try to be as clean as you want. You can run it back behind it again. Now you don't want to take a pipe wrench and try to tighten these, but you don't want to leave it loose. So you do want a good snug. So now we've replaced our black wire with our red. Now we're going to take our black wire to our brown. So here's our brown wire. Take your brown one. And you do want to make sure that it's on there good. And you want to grab your wire nut and grab each wire and tug.
Excellent.
Okay. So that was our black, our red, and our brown. So now we're going to come down to, I guess we're going backwards. Number 3, the yellow. The yellow is going to come over here to the hermetic side, the capacitor. And we're just going to simply leave the orange one that's on there that's going to the compressor. We're going to leave it alone and we're going to add this to it. I prefer to do a straight connection. And if that connection comes loose, you just simply, where it just slides on there real easy, you can just take a pair of needle nose, just give them a little pinch. And I'm not going to do too much now because it's nice and snug, but then it makes it a little bit tougher to get on there, which means a better connection. If you look there on the diagram, so we took ours to the capacitor, to the hermetic side, 3 prongs. The common is actually already there. In this case, it's a red wire coming down to the top of the contactor. So we have to do nothing on this part. It's already there. And this one's already there, so we're good to go. Moving on to number 2. This is the black wire. Comes over here to T1. T1 is the right side right here where this red wire is at. It's about to get replaced with the black one. Now we're going to come back to the red wire we took off. We're going to take that to the blue wire. And it's the last one we got left. Okay, so you can try to start planning on how you want to clean your system up. And always also have a can of bug spray depending on what time of year it is, just in case. Make sure when you do this that you are not going to accidentally cut a wire.
We need Karen in for this project. She is good at making things look nice.
Now that's nice and snug, not overly tight.
I think you did a fine job, Dave. That looks pretty.
Why, thank you. Some more. So then we talked about doing these down here. We can slide these wires off to the side. Now we can gently pull them back out and just get them wire tied together so when we shove them back there permanently, they stay together. And when you pull them out, all you're pulling out is this group of wires. So you don't have none of this other stuff in there. While we're here, I got a couple extra zip ties. We could probably try to continue to separate.
You see we have extra zip ties. I think I'm going to put you to work on my computer cables with all those extras.
Heck yeah.
Oh, that was way better.
A third less amps.
31.5, and the sound I thought was pretty nice.
Oh yeah.
Should I try one more time?
Sure.
Let's see what the second one pulls up at.
You ready?
All right, let's see what it sounds like.
That actually sounded better.
34, and let's see what the actual amp draw is. It should have stayed the same, but I just like to see. Wow.
Go. It's a little lower.
It's rising though, I guess.
It may slowly rise up to ease into it. So yeah, looks like we're going to run about the same.
Well, then we look good to go.
All
and
right.
at 34 amps, that's going to start up with almost any generator out there. And any one of these inverters for the solar units are going to be able to start that up too, just by having one of them.
I agree.
I bet it's going to make a big difference on the lights inside too for flickering.
Oh, massive. I bet, yeah. I mean, you're going from 90 amps to 30. Absolutely.
All right, Dave, man, I appreciate it.
My pleasure,
that
brother.
was awesome. I'm so glad you were able to show everybody how to do this the right way.
Thank you, and it was great doing it.
All right, guys. Well, I definitely think this is a good option for anybody. It's going to give you a lot more options if you do have to start this up in a grid down situation. Electric company goes out for anything, you'll be able to use your generator. I'm positive it's going to add more life to this just with it not hitting up near so hard.
That's true. Like you were talking about earlier, when a unit first starts off, it's like a dragster leaving the line going to the next red light, if you will. And then if you notice, the guys with those, they have to rebuild those motors quite often. Where this is a stock car.
Yeah.
Not a NASCAR stock car, but a stock car like a Kia, and it just takes off a nice, slow, even pace, and they tend to last longer because they're not pushing as hard.
And check out the link. I do have a link to get these soft starts. All right, you guys have a great one. Catch you on the next video.